Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Alyssa Grace and I love to travel and paint. Let's get into it. In today's episode, we went to Rockwall, Texas, which we've been trying to work pretty hard to find places that work in the winter. It's not all dead. And we also have to fight the weather, which is really cold and windy. So we're finding little pockets of, okay, this weather is livable. So we went to Rockwall, Texas today, which was a harbor district. We went to the harbor district of Rockwall, Texas, and found a lighthouse to paint. And it was super fun. There was a lot of creative people out and about, which made it 10 times more fun, in my opinion. So my family went out and we had a great time and survived the cold. So in today's episode, we are in Rockwall, Texas. We cross a bridge that's in the back of this scene on our way to see my brother in college, who's in Washita, which is where I'm actually planning on going to. So we've seen this lighthouse and I've always been curious about it. So I'm just getting set up and getting my palette box, even though I'm using gouache today. I'm getting a page and I'm going to tape it to a panel so I can use my oil setup, which is easier than my gouache setup. I had a really hard time peeling the tape.
So I'm in Rockwall, Texas at Lake Ray Hubbard, and we are in the Rockwall Harbor District. And so I picked this little lighthouse, which is on the stock, to paint today.
On that side of you.
Over here. And I picked that to paint today. There's no boats at the harbor today, but it's still really pretty to paint. It's a beautiful day and I'm really excited.
So even though the lake is blue, one of my favorite plein air painters, Chamberlain Paintings, uses burnt sienna as his tone in pretty much all of his paintings. And so I really wanted to try that out today, even though it doesn't really seem like the most obvious color that you would pick, but I was excited to try it. And I think a great way to learn is through imitation. You know, try things that you see. Sometimes my mom gets bored while she's filming and likes to get as close as possible to me before I notice or react to it.
I'm trying so hard to stay serious. Act like there's no camera there.
It was a pretty chilly day, but thankfully there was no wind, so it was really nice. It was pretty sunny, but I found a tree that I stood behind, and so I had nice shade so I could actually see what I was painting. So I actually didn't know why you tone panels with a color, so I did a little research and found out that the reason you put a color for tone behind your paintings is because you don't want the stark white to show through. Because the stark white would cause a very big contrast, rather than having like a soft neutral color come through where the color didn't fully, like the paint you put on doesn't fully cover the background. So I just thought that was interesting. The gouache is fun because it looks like there's nothing there until you add water and it just all comes into a nice paint swatch. I think it's mostly in the brush, but it's really fun to see how it just appears on the plate, almost. So right here I decided to paint this blue right next to a very wet paint. So what it started to do was to seep into the other color. The brown seeped into the green, which is actually a watercolor method called blooming. And this could cause a little bit of upset feelings if you're like, oh man, I didn't want the brown to get in the green. But I think something that's important to keep in mind while you're painting is that it's all a process, and my method is, my belief about painting is that it's more about the process than the finished product. So I think it's important not to just not get upset and move on and keep going. And thankfully gouache is it's very easy to layer it, so you can easily cover up the blooming piece, but still, I think it's good to remember that it's about the process rather than the finished product. Gouache is actually considered the illustrator's medium because it blends the softness and flexibility of watercolor, but has the vibrancy and saturation of acrylic. There was a lot of people out at this location. The last few locations I've been at were pretty isolated, so this was really fun to be in this area with so many people around. There was this little family that came and parked right in front of where I was. There they are. And they did a photo shoot. But I really enjoyed watching these little girls run around in the pink and white dresses. They were adorable. I was trying to watch them subtly though, so I wasn't creepy. Just a couple little glances, but they were really entertaining and cute. My mom likes to get as up close as she can to my paintings because she wants to see so well what I'm painting and film it, but sometimes it accidentally covers my eyes.
Can you see your painting anymore?
With my right eye. My brother was reading today, and my sister was reading too, laying in the grass. My dad was painting, which we usually pick different scenes, but this was like one of the first times that he picked the same scene.
This one?
I think my mom picks on my dad more than she does me. My dad, I think he paints a lot like he sketches, which is really cool because I think he uses his strengths to do his scenes and make them unique to him, and really just this very interesting style and very interesting painting, and they turn out really well and so interesting and fun. So as I was painting this, there was maybe a grandpa that was in the photo shoot, and he wasn't too interested in being in the photo shoot, so he kept kind of moseying over towards me just to kind of see what me and Dad were doing, but not look like he was trying to see what we were doing. It was really funny. He was really sweet though. It wasn't creepy at all. He was playing with his grandkids, so it was fun, and I just left him alone. So the lighthouse I'm painting actually was dedicated to a man named Scott Self, in honor of his love, respect, and service for Lake Ray Hubbard, the city of Rockwall and Rockwall County. He had a passion for storytelling and sailing, and the plaque said he introduced thousands to the sport of sailing. He considered the lake to be the best lake to sail in Texas because of its shape and direction in relation to the winds. And I just thought it was so inspiring to learn about someone who had such a passion and to be sharing it with others, like introducing thousands of people to sailing, and to have a legacy of that. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do, to share my passion with others. So it was special to be able to paint the lighthouse that was dedicated to him. Using my finger again. At one point there were a ton of seagulls, thankfully not over my head, but I decided I wanted to try and paint them, which was an undertaking, but I was really excited to do it. The first one I painted looked kinda like an airplane, so I decided I needed to do a couple more to make them look actually like seagulls. I think the rest of them turned out a lot better than the first one, or at least some of them turned out better. But I think they were pretty cute birds. I think it added a lot to that big empty space in the sky, and You know, you just want to look at the seagulls and be there and watch them fly, and it's really cute. I saw 2 little windows on the lighthouse. They were really cute. So I'm coming in with some like impressions of trees and just some like little wisps and texture to add to the background. I'm also adding some cars, painting some cars back there. I thought painting the cars would add to the idea that there were a lot of people around and add to the community idea. Just the vibe that there were so many people around, and it was just a really fun time being with everyone there, even though I didn't know them, but I added the cars to maybe add to that idea. It was really fun to play with these patterns in the rock, come up with like a simple pattern texture idea to get the idea across that they're rocks, you know. So while I was painting this, a little girl came up with her grandma, a different one than the photo shoot family, and her grandma picked her up and showed her my painting, and I asked her if she liked to paint, and she was like, yes. It was the cutest thing. Maybe she was like 2 years old. It was the cutest thing and made my day. There was actually a mariachi band playing on the docks and a street guitarist playing kind of near but kind of far away. And it was so fun to be all together and be a part of something. I felt like painting there, I felt like I was like a part of something bigger. I love that this area is being set up for community in that way. The railing around the lighthouse, actually, they're starting a lock bridge. You know, like couples put like a lock on a bridge or a railing. So I'm just adding some details just to add to the feeling I felt from the location. So I wanted to add a couple couples sitting around on the docks. There's a man and a woman leaning on his shoulder, and a couple people walking, which was, I've never done people in my paintings, and so that was really fun to watch the people walking around and try to catch them in the few seconds I saw them. Painting another little man looking off into the distance. So I'm just finishing up some last details. This was a really fun painting to do. I really loved doing the lighthouse. It's a little bit intimidating. It's very structural. I mean, sometimes I've painted lighthouses before and it doesn't look like a lighthouse at all. There's my mom filming me. So after this, we stayed for the sunset and got coffee. There's my brother in the back. He's like, oops, I'm in a shot.
You were blurry back there. Sorry. This is so cool. I love these people over here.
They're like, that one's leaning on the other one's shoulder. Wait, guys.
I wanted to go with them.
I think that's pretty good. What do you think? I like it. Although I want to see it.
They were gonna walk around and see the shops, and so I wanted to go too.
Ooh, I love that. I like the trees.
Like the trees?
Is that what you're doing now? What are you working on now?
I was about to experiment with the holes around. See, it's about the right length.
Oh, that's nice. You just
And now you just dot it.
I love that.
Ooh, do that again.
This is a fun shot. Ooh. Bravery, I like it.
Whoa!
You come see mine?
Yes.
I think I'm done.
Oh, you're done? Oh my goodness.
Don't worry.
No skateboarding for Audrey today. Too many people. Audrey held back.
I love it so much.
You see the people?
The sky. I love the sky.
I like the people. I like those people.
Look at that. I love the little bits of color you put in it too. Way to go. And that's bold too. I love how you put the sky in the water too. That is just good work.
Thank you.
How'd you feel about the birds? They look amazing.
I did it while they were all swirling around.
You did?
And I just was like,
Dude, they're so realistic. Like that thing right there. That's my favorite one.
hey, this was my first attempt and it looked like a plane, so I figured I should do some more.
There
so
you go.
they look like birds.
That's great stuff.
I was tempted to
Good
do
job.
one like huge that's like going right here or something.
So I'm packing up, and it's really nice because everything fits in one backpack, except for a tripod. But it's super helpful because I can go and set up wherever and be able to stand and paint what I want rather than being confined to anything. So that's really fun.
She is like Waldo. Look at us, wave.
My dad painted this crazy cool tree in the foreground of his painting. I think it added everything to his painting. Well, it's all really good, but I'm a big fan of this tree. It was so cool.